Prayer Times Islam.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Shalat is a means of communication with Allah and strengthens the spiritual connection with the Creator. For this reason, Shalat is very important for Muslims. There are two types of Shalat: Fardu, obligatory prayers, and Sunnah, voluntary prayers. The times for performing Shalat are predetermined, making it essential for Muslims to know the appropriate times for each prayer. Fardu prayers. Fardu prayers are mandatory prayers that every Muslim must perform throughout their lifetime, following the specified times and number of rakat. The types of Fardu prayers are: Far, 2 rakat. Dur, 4 rakat. Asyar, 4 rakat. Maghrib, 3 rakat. Isha, 4 rakat. The timing of Fardu prayers is based on the movement of the sun as seen from earth. Each prayer has specific times and durations. Dur starts when the sun declines from its zenith until the shadow of an object equals its length, as long as Asr time has not yet begun. Asyar begins while the sun has not yet turned yellow. Maghrib starts after sunset and ends when the red twilight disappears. Isha lasts until midnight. Far starts from the break of dawn until just before sunrise. Performing Fardu prayers at the earliest time is highly recommended. As narrated in a hadith from Bukhari Muslim, the most virtuous deed is to perform the prayer at its earliest time. While it is encouraged to pray Fardu prayers at the beginning of their times, praying them at the end of their allotted times is also permitted. This leniency is based on the Prophet's words: the beginning of the time is Allah's pleasure, and the end of the time is Allah's forgiveness. If delaying it was not allowed, it would become difficult for people, so they are forgiven for delaying it. Delaying prayer should be based on a valid reason. Delaying prayer without a legitimate excuse falls into the category of neglecting prayer. Ibn Abbas said, neglecting prayer does not mean abandoning it altogether but rather delaying it beyond its appointed time. Furthermore, it includes those who forget their prayers, as explained in a narration by Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas. I asked the Prophet about those who neglect their prayers. He replied, it is those who delay them beyond their time. Failing to pray within the appointed time is considered abandoning Fardu prayer. According to a hadith narrated by Ahmad, abandoning Fardu prayer means relinquishing Allah's protection. As Muwaydih bin Jabal reported, the Prophet said, whoever deliberately abandons an obligatory prayer has forsaken Allah's guarantee. Sunnah prayers. There are many types of Sunnah prayers that Muslims can perform voluntarily. Repentance prayer. This prayer is performed to seek forgiveness for sins. It consists of 2 rakat and is usually performed at night. Witr prayer. This is a prayer with an odd number of rakat, usually performed after Isha prayer as a closing prayer of the night. The minimum is 1 rakat, but it is typically performed with 3 rakat. Duha prayer. This is a Sunnah prayer performed in the morning, starting when the sun is about 1 spear length above the horizon and ending before Dur. The minimum is 2 rakat, and the maximum is 12 rakat. Hajat prayer. A Sunnah prayer of 2 rakat performed when one has a need or request, asking Allah to fulfill it. It can be performed at any permissible time. Greeting the mosque prayer. A 2 rakat prayer recommended for anyone entering a mosque before sitting. Istikhara prayer. A 2 rakat prayer performed to seek Allah's guidance when faced with choices. It is recommended to perform it late at night and to make abundant supplications afterward. Tarawih prayer. A nightly prayer performed during Ramadan after Isha and before Far. It can consist of 8 or 20 rakat. Sunnah Rawatib prayer. Voluntary prayers associated with the 5 obligatory prayers, performed either before or after. There are 12 rakat in total per day. Tahajjud prayer. A prayer performed at night after waking from sleep. It can consist of a minimum of 2 rakat and up to 12 rakat, performed in pairs. Prayer for the 2 eclipses. A 2 rakat prayer recommended during solar or lunar eclipses, with 4 standing positions and 4 bowings. Eid prayers performed on the 10th of Dhu al-Hijjah and the 1st of Shawwal. These consist of 2 rakat and are typically conducted outdoors. Rain-seeking prayer. A 2 rakat prayer performed to ask for rain during droughts. It includes additional supplications and acts of repentance. These Sunnah prayers are highly encouraged for spiritual growth and nearness to Allah. Thus concludes the discussion on prayer and its designated times. May it be beneficial for everyone.